Hi Year 9, we're going to start with just a slide that shows you the type of career you could go on to if you start with a GCSE in art and design. If you aren't thinking of studying art after you leave MEA, there is no reason why you shouldn't choose one of the art subjects. Many employers and universities respect seeing that you have a creative side on your CV. It shows that you can problem solve, think creatively and present your ideas clearly and to a wide range of audiences. We're going to briefly look at two case studies of two different career options that you may go on to if you study art and design in further education. This first study is an artist called Ian Murphy. He's a classically trained fine artist and actually one of the artists that we look at in one of the GCSE projects. He will have gone on to do a degree in fine art drawing and painting. There's a quote from him at the top. "My artistic journey can certainly be traced back to my formative years at school. I loved art and design along with other practical subjects like engineering, drawing, metal and woodwork." He now works as a professional artist, selling his work, which is actually of Manchester mainly, and doing workshops in school. In contrast, we're going to look at artist Malcolm Tween, who is a graphic designer. He also studied the traditional art, craft and design GCSE, but then after school went on to train in digital media. And as you can see from the pictures, he now works for Star Wars. There is no reason why you can't go on to specialise in a different art form after studying the traditional GCSE art, craft and design. The skills that you learn are the same skills that you will need in many other design university degrees. So what is the GCSE in art, craft and design like at MEA? Well, firstly, you will be taught in a specialist art room with a dedicated art teacher. All the art teachers at MEA are of course trained artists and therefore best equipped to give you any advice you need to develop your skills. You will experiment and learn in a wide range of art materials. We're lucky at MEA to be able to teach a huge number of techniques, and we make sure that there is something there that you will be able to excel at. You will explore artists both contemporary and historical, and you will build up a portfolio of work that not only will get you your grade in GCSE, but you can also use it to get into many different college courses. There will be a trip to Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and there should be some visits from further education colleges. The image here shows a visit from Loreto. The Art GCSE has two parts to it, Component 1 and Component 2. Component 1 is 60% of your final mark, and it includes all the coursework that you complete from the start of Year 10 onwards. So it is really important that you are working your hardest from the start of the GCSE. This consists of two projects which are both led by your teacher. Past projects have been Sea Life, Tribal, Urban, Alphabetica and Natural Form. Before we look at some examples of students' work, I'll just tell you a little bit about how the work is assessed. There are 4 parts to the assessment of the GCSE, and all the projects led by your teacher are carefully planned so they hit all of these assessment criteria. Assessment 1 is the artist research that you do. Every project starts by looking at a number of artists and experimenting in their style of work. Assessment 2 is further experiments that you make based on the artist's work that you've looked at and on the topic that we have chosen to study in lesson. These will be in a range of different media. Assessment 3 is how you have recorded information on the topic that we're studying. So this may be in the form of drawings, or it may be in photographs, or it may be in written work. Assessment 4 is how you are presenting your ideas in an artwork. So it's like a final piece that you make of the project. This could be a number of small pieces, or it might be one larger piece that you've spent much longer on. To get a high grade in art, you need to make sure that you are completing all the work set in lesson, including the homework and any extension tasks that your teacher can give you. We always expect pupils who are aiming for an 8 or a 9 to be doing extra drawing at home. Always put your maximum effort in lesson. As mentioned before, the GCSE starts as soon as you start Year 10. all of that work can be put into your portfolio to get you a high mark. Use the internet. When researching artists at home, there is a number of websites that are helpful. Pinterest is especially helpful for ideas and inspiration for artworks. Be brave. There are lots of different techniques taught in the GCSE. Some may be outside of your comfort zone. They may be abstract or they may be messy, but it's worth trying everything and not being afraid to make mistakes. Reflect on your work. Make sure you're always thinking about how you could develop your work, what you like about it, and what you would do again. And reflect on the work of artists. What techniques have they used? What can you use that they've used in your work? Here is a snapshot of the Urban project. All of the work on the slide is produced by our pupils last year. You can see that the 4 main assessment objectives is represented there. So you've got artist research down on the left hand side, and then some experimentation. There's some collage there is some textiles work, there is some ink work and some watercolour pencil, and then there is some recording of ideas. There's a really nice observational drawing with some tonal shading. That is the type of drawing that we're expecting at GCSE level. And then there is some outcomes. So the larger picture, the black inky picture, is an outcome. So the pupil that made that will have spent quite a few hours using different techniques to work up a picture of that level. In contrast to the Urban project, this is the Sea Life project. So you can see again the 4 assessment objectives. So we have artist research down on the right hand side, and then some experimentation, so there's some printing there that they have experimented with, and then some recording of ideas. You can see those beautiful fish drawings, which will have taken that pupil quite a long time to do. And then on this page there's 4 different outcomes, and they are quite 3D outcomes. So the bodice on the left hand side, that's made out of paper, sellotape, I think plastic bottles. There was a wide number of materials used, and that pupil experimented and created those coral textures herself through a number of weeks of trying out different techniques. We are looking for that level of dedication in the art department. And then we've got on the right hand side some mud rock skeleton fish. So again, that pupil has had to develop up those techniques themselves before making that final outcome. When you get into year 11, you will have developed different skills, and therefore you can see in this project that different pupils have chosen a different outcome. The sgraffito there is from a pupil that was really good at that fine level detail and spent hours and hours making that piece of work, which is actually A2 in size. The final part of the GCSE, Component 2, consists of a separate project with a final piece at the end under exam conditions. This counts for 40% of your final mark. It's very similar to Component 1, yet this time you pick your own starting point from an exam paper provided to us from the exam board. You can see on this slide the pupil has chosen the topic pattern. She then did a wide range of research into traditional African patterns, tried out different compositions, looked at artists, and then in the 10 hours made the image on the far right. This may sound daunting, but most pupils enjoy this process. You will feel confident of the way of working in GCSE by year 11, and this is the opportunity to work more independently and choose your own subject matter. We believe that anybody can do well at Art GCSE if you enjoy the lessons and work hard. Thank you for listening.